Hi, I'm Frank Zarowski, and I'm your host with the State of the League, with my co-host,
AJ Shaw.
and my other co-host.
Jake Ingersoll.
Today on our agenda, we are going to be talking about the possible Las Vegas expansion slash relocation to possibly San Antonio. We've also got a big question. It's in many people's minds in the NFL. What is going on with the Philadelphia Eagles front office and their decision making? We've also got some QBs that we think are going to make a breakout year and our Super Bowl picks. AJ, why don't you start with the Las Vegas San Antonio relocation?
Well, I don't believe Las Vegas, Frank, is going to be an expansion. I don't feel like the expansion is going to be big out there in Las Vegas. That could change, though. But I feel like San Antonio is a great opportunity for the NFL. The Alamo Dome is down there, and the owner of the Raiders, Mark Davis, has expressed numerous interest in expanding the Oakland Raiders to San Antonio. It makes total amounts of sense. San Antonio is a great sports town with the Spurs, and it would make sense to, send a storied franchise like the Oakland Raiders to San Antonio, especially with the use of the Alamo Dome available.
Absolutely. Building off of that, with the Alamo Dome, that would be a huge thing. Like, we're reinvigorating San Antonio, but knowing our current commissioner, Mr. Goodell, that might not happen for a little while. Jake, what are your thoughts on this expansion for Las Vegas?
Well, Las Vegas is a tourist town. There's a lot of gambling, so I don't think that would be a good town. I don't think there's a lot of true sports fans down there. It's a big tourist place, and I think that San Antonio would be a great place. With the Spurs, we know that there's a great fan base for the Spurs, so that could prove that there will also be a great fan base for the football team, so fan base and a bigger city.
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying about the tourist town. Like, the NHL commissioner wants to is actually doing a Las Vegas team, which I don't think is going to do pretty well because, like you were saying, it's a tourist town. There's gambling, there's crime.
Well, there's obviously going to be struggles out of the expansion team. I mean, every expansion team struggled when they first.
I know, but still, it's still there's the point that not a lot of people watch sports in Vegas.
A lot of people watch sports in San Antonio.
Exactly. They got the Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans, the Oilers. All right, next.
Texas is a big sports.
Exactly. Next topic. What's going on with the Eagles lately? Just to get everyone who isn't up to speed on the current situation with the Philadelphia Eagles front office, everything was looking like they were going to be a championship team. They had the perfect quarterback in Nick Foles, looking great, and Chip Kelly made a puzzling move to many when he traded Nick Foles to the St. Louis Rams, now Los Angeles Rams, for Sam Bradford, of people who has been hurt, torn his ACL 2 years in a row. It's very puzzling, and they also gave Sam Bradford a $32 or $36 million extension for 2 years, and then proceeded to draft Carson Wentz, a very good quarterback in my mind, who at the number 2 seed in the draft. So, what are your thoughts on that, Jake?
Well, Carson Wentz is going to take quite a few years to develop, so I think signing Sam Bradford is just giving Wentz more time. But the money thing, I don't understand. Why would you sign a guy who has been so injured, he didn't have a very good year last year, to that much money, where you can't sign as many other players to big deals? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, because that'll take a cap hit if you decide to trade him, and that won't look good for the franchise, and the owners will lose some money. AJ, what are your thoughts on this?
I have a question for the two of you.
Okay.
What has Sam Bradford done in the NFL?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, he had high expectations coming out of college, and then he just got injured and nothing. So if they wanted to trade him now, nobody wants him because of the money.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to say a message right now, because I know we're going to be uploading this later. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles front office and you decide to turn this on, please get your head examined. Please trade Sam Bradford for a good wide receiver and get your head examined. All right, AJ, final thoughts on the Philadelphia situation?
First off, Philadelphia Eagles, they need to tear this down. Their defense is atrocious. They have 2 really good players in their defense. you know, the whole Chip Kelly wanting to draft, you know, these special teams guys to play on your offense out of Oregon. What in the world are you thinking, Chip Kelly? I'm glad that you got fired. I think Doug Peterson, the new head coach, is going to bring that, you know, aggressiveness that he brought with the Kansas City Chiefs. They had an offense there in Kansas City. What do they have in Philadelphia? Special teams guys that played for Oregon. That's not going to win you football games, Philadelphia. You need to find yourself a legitimate offense and a good enough defense if you want to compete for a championship.
All right, we're going to be wrapping up our segment. So, what are some quarterbacks that you see for a breakout year entering this season? AJ?
I think this is Marcus Mariota's year to have a breakout. He had a pretty good year last year, but his offensive line was very weak. I think with some of the improvements that the Titans have made to their offensive line, I think Mariota's going to have a great year. He's a good running quarterback, and I feel like with his arm, he could, you know, have a really good season throwing wise. I think he's going to have a nice breakout year.
Jake, who do you think? Like, give me two names.
Well, I have two names. I think Teddy Bridgewater. You know, he had a solid year last year, but I think this is going to be his breakout year. The Vikings were a field goal away from getting to the divisional. It was a horrible kick by Blair Walsh. Everybody's hating him right now, but I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a good year and lead the Vikings deep into the playoffs, I think. And one other name, I think Derek Carr. Derek Carr has had a breakout year last year, and I think with Amari Cooper coming into his second year, he's going to have some good targets, and Oakland's going to make a push for the playoffs.
I agree with that assessment of Derek Carr. I think
Absolutely.
He's a great quarterback. He's doing a great job. He's one of the best quarterbacks that the Raiders have had since Rich Gannon.
Absolutely. You know what? I was actually going to say Derek Carr and Ryan Tannehill because Tannehill, they're finally getting the pieces together. They got the respected offensive coordinator who worked with Peyton Manning in Adam Gase, who, by the way, actually got Peyton Manning to do tutoring with Ryan over the offseason, and I think that's going to make all the difference to push these guys into the playoffs because they've been 1 or 2 games off, and going off of what Jake and AJ said, yeah, Derek Carr is going to be a breakout guy for this year. All right, we'll see you again next week for the State of the League. I'm Frank Zarowski, and these are my co-hosts.
Jake Ingersoll.
And AJ Shaw.
See you next week.